Welcome to the most entertaining 11 minutes of your entire day. I am Jake, and this is Jake's Takes. 11 minutes of insight from an 11-year-old perspective. You listen to the news, you watch TV, and you browse the internet. But now it's time to hear the stories and headlines from my point of view. So welcome to my podcast, Jake's Takes. Please hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel if you can. Buckle up, because it's game time. Jake's Takes is raising the bar once again. Today's guest was born in Chicago and was a 4-time high school All-American basketball player. He was drafted into the NBA by the Boston Celtics. In 1997, he became general manager of the Toronto Raptors and was responsible for making the memorable trade for Vince Carter on draft night. In 2011, he was named general manager of one of the most storied franchises in the NBA, the New York Knicks. Currently, he is the president and CEO of Canada Basketball. It is such an honor to welcome to Jake's Takes, Mr. Glen Grunwald. Glen, I want to start by thanking you for your support and joining me today on Jake's Takes. How you doing, Glen?
Jake, I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
I am super excited to have you join me on Jake's Takes, because I love basketball. Yes, even before the Raptors won the Larry O.P. So let's start talking hoops. Sound good to you?
That's what I talk about all the time, Jake, so I'm ready to talk about some hoops.
Awesome. Glen, the NBA is a league filled with stars. During your time as a GM of the Raptors, you brought a star into the organization, Vince Carter. What did you see in Vince, and did you ever dream he would turn into the player he did?
Well, I saw when we scouted him, we saw a tremendous athlete, and one of the criticisms that he had was that he didn't have great skills in terms of shooting or ball handling. But when we worked him out individually, we saw that, in fact, he did have very good basketball skills and would be a very good shooter. And then the other thing that struck me was he was such a very nice and warm person. And plus, he really liked the idea of playing in Toronto, which was kind of unique back then.
Do you still keep in touch with Vince? And does he recognize the role you played in his career?
Yes, we see each other now and again, not as frequently as when we were both with the Raptors, obviously. But now that he's retired, I'm actually filming a segment for a documentary that someone's putting together about him on this coming Saturday. And then we actually just received a Christmas card from his mother this past a couple days. So yeah, we stay in touch a little bit, and he's a TV star now. He's doing a lot of broadcasting, so good for him.
That's amazing. Just one more quick thing about Vince. Where do you rank him on the list of all-time greatest Raptors?
Well, he's up there. I know that, there's some other good candidates too, but he's got to be certainly among the top 2 or 3. I know Kyle Lowry certainly has a case to be made for leading the team to multiple playoffs and ultimately the NBA championship. And I would say that between him and Vince, those are the 2 best players, and you can make an argument either way. But both were great for Toronto. Both were a lot of fun to watch, and are a lot of fun to watch still in Kyle's case.
100% I agree. I say Lowry is number 1. I love his effort and energy, and Vince is right there with him. So Glen,
yeah,
talk to me about the NBA today. If you were a GM of a new franchise and you could choose any player in the league to start your team, who would it be and for what reason?
That's a good question, Jake. There's so many out there. I think you've got to sort of look at the age. I still think LeBron is probably one of the best players in the league, but he's getting up there, so he's not going to be with us that long. So I might go for a younger player, maybe Zion Williamson. My only concern about Zion is he seems to be hurt fairly often, but he's certainly a great talent, and we'll see how he turns out. And then we have Anthony Davis, who partnered with LeBron James last year to win the championship, and he's still in his prime. So maybe I'd go with Anthony Davis.
As much as I want to say Luka, because I love Luka, I have to say Giannis. He's just so dominant and only getting better. He drives to the hole, and his jump shot's only getting better.
Well, that's a good call. It's hard for me to argue about that, and good for Milwaukee being able to re-sign him to the long-term extension of his contract. I think that's good for Milwaukee, certainly, but also good for the NBA.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad about that since I'm a Raptors fan, but...
Oh, that's right, yes. With all those rumors.
Yeah. So this next question, I'm excited to ask you. We saw 2 years ago, Anthony Davis demanded a trade. We seem to be seeing it again now with James Harden, and I personally don't like it. If you're on a team, don't quit on them. It's a bad look for the league. What can the NBA do to prevent players from demanding trades?
Well, it's a good question, Jake. I know no one really likes it. I'm sure the players that are actually making the demands don't particularly like doing that either. But it's the nature of the business. The players' career are relatively short, and they have to make the most of the opportunity, and they don't necessarily control all the actions that a team takes, so sometimes they might disagree. But, the NBA has taken some steps. A player can't publicly demand to be traded now without being fined. But it's still going to happen. It's just the nature, I think, of the human animal to want change once in a while, and that's what agents and general managers are for, to try and make the situation successful for both the player and the team. But sometimes that just doesn't happen, and then we have to find a way to make the change that hopefully is mutually beneficial for both the player and the team. But you're right. As a fan, I don't like it either. I wish a player would just, be loyal to my team like I'm loyal to the team too, but that's not the way it works a lot of times, unfortunately.
Exactly. All right, Glenn. You know what time it is on Jake's Takes? As always, it's game time! We will be playing Rapid Fire. I will ask you a bunch of short questions, and you answer them as quick as you can. Deal?
I'll do my best.
Let's go. What do you prefer? Courtside or a suite?
Courtside.
Driver or passenger?
Driver.
Bam Adebayo or Pascal Siakam?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Pascal.
Computer or tablet?
Computer.
French fries or salad?
Well, I should say salad, but it's actually French fries.
What career accomplishment are you most proud of?
Oh, I think getting the Raptors to their first playoffs and winning the first playoff round, that was a lot of fun and a great experience, beating the Knicks in New York at Madison Square Garden.
Favorite country you traveled to?
I like Spain.
Monopoly or chess?
Monopoly, I guess.
Best rebounder in the NBA today?
Today? Oh, Montrell Hazard. Harold.
Democrat or Republican?
I got to go with Democrat.
Overdressed or underdressed?
I guess I'm always underdressed.
Target or Walmart?
Well, we don't have Target anymore here in Canada, so I'll have to go with Walmart.
We have a winner! Glen Grunwald is a rapid fire champion. How does it feel to nail that rapid fire?
It was good. It was good. Some good questions there, Jake. Thanks.
Very impressive performance. You handled the pressure like a pro. You know, the Clippers can learn a lot from you, Glenn.
Well,
So I have just a few more quick questions for you. That good with you?
okay.
So let's discuss Canada basketball. Over the last few years, Canada has produced impressive players who are now thriving in the NBA. In the bubble, we all watched Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets become a star. What has contributed to the recent burst of success for Canadian basketball players?
Well, I think role models are a big part of it. I think, going back to Vince Carter and the players that were growing up at that time, seeing how well he played and how he did it. And then, just having other players make it in the NBA from Canada, starting to believe that they can do it too. And then, the coaching and the work that the players put in has reached that level that's necessary in order to be a pro basketball player. So it's sort of just building the culture and setting the role models and then doing the work. And that's certainly Jamal. Yeah, he certainly put in a lot of work.
It's great for Canada. So I got to ask you about Kawhi Leonard. A few years ago, John Tavares left the Islanders for a chance to play with his hometown team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was so pumped. Tavares was coming home. So when Kawhi decided to leave Toronto to go home to LA, I should have understood. But I didn't. And here is why. After you win a championship with a group of players, you owe it to them to try and run it back. You don't bail out on that. Kawhi has every right to go home and play, but not without trying to repeat. He should have signed a deal here with an opt-out after a year. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I think everyone would have loved to see that happen, and I know I would have too. But again, he wanted to go home. I wish he would have stayed another year and ran it back, as you said. But unfortunately, he didn't take up that offer. I'm sure the Raptors would have cooperated with a deal like that too. So it is unfortunate, but it's sort of like when players want to be traded or when they're free agents. Sometimes they have their own decisions to make and their own reasons to make them.
Okay, last question, Glenn. How could I talk hoops with you and not ask about Canadian legend Steve Nash? We're all excited to see him as a head coach this year with the Brooklyn Nets. Since you know him well, how will Steve Nash do as a first-year coach dealing with some big personalities like KD and Kyrie Irving?
Well, I think he'll do just fine. He's got a great understanding of the game, plus his All-Star Hall of Fame record will get credibility with the players immediately. But he also has a very good way of working with people. And, he was a captain of the Phoenix Suns and really helped keep that team together, and he'll do the same thing as the coach and be able to, work together with the players and get them to try and achieve their goal of winning an NBA championship. So I'm very excited to see how Steve does with that very talented team in Brooklyn.
This was a lot of fun, Glenn, and a real honor to have you join me on Jake's Takes. Hope you had fun, and I thank you for being such a great leader for Canada basketball.
Well, thank you, Jake, and best of luck to you, too.